Welcome into the OKPreps Coach's Corner. I'm Michael Knight, sitting down here with Cashion head coach Lynn Shackelford. Coach, before we talk about the upcoming season, we got to take a look back at what happened last year. 11-1 record.
Yep.
Great regular season. Brutal district that you guys had to go through to make it to the playoffs, and then you fall short in the playoffs. Second round loss to Fairview. Let's talk about that district first.
Okay.
Navigating through that, I mean, how much of an impact did the outcome of the season, falling short in the playoffs, how much of going through that district and just a week in, week out, just grind, how much of an impact did that have?
I would say little. What happened to us against Fairview didn't have anything to do with what happened when we played, Crossings 3 weeks before that. But
okay.
I think the district was obviously really hard. I mean, the team that got fourth is a state runner-up, so it was definitely a challenge every week. I think maybe if you wanted to say one thing about our district that may have hurt our kids a little bit was I think the fact that we did navigate the district the way that we did maybe gave us a little bit of a false sense of who we were and kind of what it took to win in the playoffs a little bit. This group that we haven't really experienced a lot of playoff success, so it's a whole different level of competition once you get to that part of the season, and I don't think we handled that as well as we probably should have, and hopefully we've learned from it and we can be better this year.
How has this offseason been from coming off a year where, look, I mean, you finished the regular season 10-0, you're probably feeling pretty good, like you mentioned. Things didn't end the way you wanted to, but I mean, when you look back at the last 5-6 years, Cashion historically is one of the top teams in Class A, regardless. How has this offseason been as far as building to that ultimate goal, which is to win a state championship?
It's been really good. Our kids have worked really hard. We spend a whole bunch of time in June going to team camp and going and doing 7-on-7 stuff, and then we kind of throttle it back a little bit in July to just try to get our wits about us a little bit before we start again. But I mean, our kids have been working hard. They're in the weight room. They're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. I think with as much experience as we have coming back, I think our kids are like a lot of us. We're just ready for the season to start and ready to get back out there and kind of get that bad taste out of your mouth from last year.
How much does that help as a coach when you're trying to motivate your guys? The dog days of summer, and guys are tired. They're not wanting to work it. They're not wanting to come in, run sprints, things like that. It's like we have a chance here to be very special with 21 out of 22 starters coming back.
We haven't really talked a lot about the motivation side of it, and it's been more driven by our seniors. They're kind of the ones that this is their last shot, and that's one of the things we talk a lot about at Cashion is, no two teams are ever going to be the same. I know we have 21 starters coming back, but our team this year will be completely different than it was last year. If for nothing else, hopefully there's a little bit of a sense of urgency from the 14 seniors that we have, understanding that they don't have another shot at it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what we talk about way more than anything that happened last year, because everybody's different. Everybody on our schedule is going to be different than they were last year. So we're going to have to prepare and get ready to play just like it's a brand new season.
When you look back at how we talked about that district, nothing's changed. I
No.
mean, it's going to be the same again. It's going to be brutal once again.
Mm-hmm.
What can you take away from your experience last year in the district, going through it week in, week out, to help prepare you and prepare these kids for what to expect this fall?
Well, I think it's just it's hopefully our kids understand that every week we have to prepare and every week we have to play, and there's really not an opportunity to take a week off or think that we're something that we're not, or our opponent's something that they're not. That's one of the things we talk about a lot is respecting those other guys on a Friday night and understanding that, especially in the district that we're in, teams are going to be well coached, kids are going to be prepared, they're going to be talented, so we're going to have to come to work every week, and hopefully, we had the same hope last year, but hopefully that will pay off for us at the end of the year, and we'll understand that once the playoffs start, you have to have that same sense of urgency every week.
Cashion, the last, like I mentioned, 5-6 years, one of the best teams in Class A, and one of the things that has gone hand in hand with that has been the quarterback position.
Sure.
You've had some pretty good quarterbacks over the last several years. You don't have a returning guy at QB this year. That's the one out of the 22 returning starters that you don't have. Who's going to be the QB1 this year?
It looks like right now to be Ben Harmon, which is Matt Harmon's little brother.
Good bloodline.
Yeah, good bloodline. Ben will be a sophomore. He played a little bit for us on defense at times last year, so he has a little bit of varsity experience. But Ben's been doing a really good job for us all summer long. He had a really good camp at Pittsburgh State. He threw the ball around pretty well in 7-on-7. And the nice thing about Ben, and I think Ben would tell you this, and hopefully the rest of our team would tell you this, we don't need Ben to load us up on his shoulders and carry us to wins on a Friday night. We need Ben to keep the train on the tracks and get the ball to guys that we need to have the ball in their hands and not turn it over. And I think if we can do that and play good defense, which I think we will, hopefully as the season goes on, Ben will get some miles on him, and once the playoff starts, he'll be a seasoned veteran.
So you don't need me to say this, but I have to say it anyway. Cashion has been knocking on the door, and they've been so close so many years now. And it really goes to what Class A has been in the last decade, 15 years, where it's completely wide open.
Sure.
When you go year by year and look who wins the gold ball, it's a different team every single year. You don't have a team that's rattling off 2-3 straight state championships. That just doesn't happen. When you're trying to go after that, Class A for me is always one of my favorite classes to look at, to project, to see what might happen, because frankly, I never know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody does. As a coach, coaching in it, living it day in, day out, how do you prepare for it?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is you have to understand that looking that far ahead and trying to project what's going to happen can be kind of a dangerous thing. And we don't. We look at it more as, kind of what's staring us in the face. We look at, first of all, our district, we want to try to win it because we think it'll give us the best path once the playoffs start. But the reality in A is it's such a long season. We have to play 5 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we're the class that probably has the least number of kids playing. So it ends up kind of being a little bit of a war of attrition. And the teams that are good week 1 and 2, they get a couple of the wrong guys hurt, and they may not be the teams that are good weeks 10 and 11. And it is, you said it. It's wide open. I think we could have started the playoffs over again after Tonkawa won it this year, and we may have had 4 different teams in the semifinals. I really think there's a lot of that parity in A, and it comes down to who can prepare and who can play well on a Friday night and who can get lucky. I think anybody that's won a state championship will tell you there's a lot of that goes into it as well, and who can get a break here and there and not, and be the healthiest you can be, in the second week of December. So
yeah, I know that definitely comes down to it, because I've talked to you at least one occasion, if not a couple, where you've been deep into the play of late November. We're talking, post Thanksgiving, and you're like, I got about 20 guys that are going to suit up on Friday. And the injuries, the season itself, it takes a toll. When you're looking at this year, and we'll wrap it up on this one, your team, you've been here, you've had a lot of programs, you know what it takes to have a deep run into the playoffs. Does this team specifically have the best shot to get it done?
I think we have a good shot. We've had some really good teams come through Cashion, and we've had some that have made it to the finals. So I think if you're in the finals, you got a really good shot. But it's got a really good makeup for what we kind of think you need to have in order to be able to do that. And I will say this, and I've talked to our team about this, and I've talked to some other people about this. I think the biggest thing for us, and what I'm the most proud of, is that you can even have that conversation about us. And it be a realistic conversation to have, because I really do think we're one of the teams in Class A that has a chance to win it. I don't think all 60 whatever teams there are can realistically say that, but I think we're one of the ones that can this year. So, we're going to prepare and try to be 1-0. I know that sounds cliche, but try to be 1-0 every week and not look too far ahead and not try to project of what we might look like 14, 15 weeks from now.
This is why I love you, Coach, because you might give me a couple of cliches here and there, but that what you just said You don't hear people say that very often. All 60-plus teams. Realistically, you don't have a shot.
Yeah.
Some teams don't have a shot to win a state championship. Year in and year out, Cashion is in that conversation. I love hearing that from you, even though it comes with some cliches afterwards. There's nothing wrong with that. I always love talking to you, Coach.
Yeah, you bet, man. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for sitting
Yeah,
down with
it was
me.
awesome.
Good luck to the Cashion Wildcats
Thanks.
this fall.
Thank you.
For Coach Shackelford, I'm Michael Knight. This has been another one-on-one here with the OKPreps Coaches Roundtable.